Government and the island's social partners appear no closer to finding answers on the controversial National Social Responsibility Levy. That's our top story in your Barbados Today evening update for Friday, August 11. So glad you can join us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. The National Social Responsibility Levy stands after close to 8 hours of talks. The Frundle-Stewart administration offered no sign that it was prepared to scrap or roll back the tax that was recently hiked from 2% to 10%. Labour and business representatives vigorously argued that the tax was too onerous and it would have far-reaching consequences for the economy. General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Tony Moore, was particularly adamant that government should at least consider a 2-month delay to allow the social partnership to craft an easier way out of the economic crisis. She questioned the rush by the government to impose the tax, which she also proposed should be reduced to 5%.
This meeting has not done anything to clarify within our minds, and it shouldn't within anybody's minds, that if we don't do 10% in NSRL, that 10,000 people, we ain't gonna look at 10,000 people going home. It doesn't do anything to satisfy in anybody's mind that if we park it for 2 months, everything may fall apart and buses can't run and the QEH can't function and garbage can't get picked up and all the other things that we've already estimated for in the estimates. I mean, come on. We're speaking to real people, sensible people, and we have asked for the opportunity to go through this information even more. In the same way that we anticipate in the days to come, we will be able to engage in the necessary back and forth as we consider what options are available to us. But I think the public of Barbados needs to hear still why parking for 2 months while we reduce, if not reduce down to 5, if not down to 2, is unreasonable.
In government's defense, Finance Minister Chris Sinclair suggested that the country had all but run out of options. He insisted that a cut or a 2-month delay in the NSRL was not in the island's interest, pointing out that government has to be in a position to pay its bills.
I heard the thing, Prime Minister, about parking something for 2 months and why is it so hard to park. These are the realities. But even if you take 2 months to negotiate or to discuss your plan, it then takes some additional time to implement the plan, which may be another 2, 3 months, 4 months. So your 2-month park may become a 6-month park. And the problem with that is that every day somebody is going to turn up and say, I don't have enough money. I have not been able to raise the money which I thought I would have gotten from my fees and services. Or a commercial institution will say, in 2 weeks' time, I said previously at the beginning of the year, I am going to roll over all, but I can't roll over all. I am leaving you short by $30 million. I can't say to that institution, with all due respect, the NSRL has been parked for 2 months. You hold on for 2 months, I can deal with you down the road. I don't have that luxury. I please do not have that luxury.
The minister's response did not sit well with President of the National Union of Public Workers, Akani McDowell. He made it clear that government still had a duty to make some concession for public servants who have not had a salary increase for the past decade.
I urge you, look and see what you can do for public servants based on what I would have presented. And make sure that you give them some kind of easement for these additional taxes that would have been imposed on them. I want to go to the supermarket next week. I want to be able to see a worker. And I want that worker now to tell me I am going to the supermarket and I can afford to buy what I want.
At the same time, the president of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Charles Herbert, expressed concern that Barbados had managed itself into a financial mess, and he's worried that there was no long-term plan to chart a path to recovery.
We have no medium or long-term plan. We're now going to try and devise it at a time that we have reached rock bottom. There's no even plan for how we plan to devise it in the coming weeks.
Prime Minister Frondell Stewart assured that the dialogue would continue and chided the social partners for spreading unnecessary doom and gloom.
It is not true to say that all of the policies upon which the government was embarked or failed policies. I heard that said in here a number of times today. Yet, growth has returned to the economy. Yet, unemployment has been coming down. Yet, we'll be moving towards a primary surplus. But yet, I'm still hearing that all the policies have failed. It's just not true, and we must stop the purveying of this alarmism in Barbados, this spreading of alarm and despondency.
He admitted that his government had bite the bullet and proceed with the NSRL, but assured that discussions would continue while lamenting that none of the social partners had brought alternatives to the table.
I therefore want to suggest to the unions yet again that we give the levy a little time to work, observe its performance. Discussions will be taking place as has been agreed by the Director of Finance and Economic Affairs in response to Mr. Abe's request on the levy and perhaps alternatives to it, because after all this time, no alternatives to the levy, no alternatives to the raising of the revenue needed to deal with the government's critical deficit challenges. No alternatives have been put on the table. Certainly none that we feel or find easy to understand or to digest.
In other news, this Friday, police are investigating a shooting incident in the city which left 2 people injured. According to police, a 41-year-old female received a gunshot injury to her right thigh, while the male received 2 gunshot injuries, one to his foot and one to his back. Police said the assailant saw the man in the area of the Fairchild Street Market and opened fire. The woman was transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for medical treatment, while the male was taken to the hospital by private vehicle.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Who calling? Get your yams and potatoes. Wait, my girl, how you want to see you for long?
I got how you keeping, but you don't sell the nation paper no more.
But that paper ain't selling this much now. I stop selling that. Look, one time I would have make a little dollar on the Sunday sun, but when Sunday night, I still trying to get the weather there.
Well, you know you can't call that the Sunday sun no more. You're gonna call that Sunset News. Call at no time that news stale.
People complain that them ain't got nothing in it to read, and the price keep going up all the time. A woman abused me so sick the other day, telling me that she just read Barbados today online for free. I can't take that abusing soul, so I switched to my potatoes and yams.
Well, let me tell you, if pork selling, you got to raise pigs. How much for the yams?
Oh, 75 cents a pound.
But that's cheaper than that stale news. Give me...
How much you want?
A pound.
Only a pound? Anyhow, these eating real good. Let me wrap them up for you. Come.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Continuing with regional developments, the Speaker of the House in the Cayman Islands, Makiva Bush, won't have to face a misdemeanor battery charge after all. Less than a month after being arrested in connection with allegedly grabbing the buttocks of a waitress at a casino in Florida and being released on a US $1,000 bond, Bush was informed that the matter would go no further. Spokesman for the State Attorney's Office, Ron Aisha, said the Broward State Attorney's Office in Fort Lauderdale has filed a no information document, indicated that it would not file the charge of a misdemeanor battery against Bush. It said it would explain the reason for the decision later. Bush was arrested on July 17 at a casino in Coral Creek, Florida. And finally, on the international scene, President Donald Trump says he's not ruling out the possibility of a military intervention in Venezuela. Asked about the possibility in response to mounting crisis in the country, the president said it was something the United States certainly could pursue.
Many options for Venezuela. And by the way, I'm not going to rule out a military option. We have many options for Venezuela. This is our neighbor. This is, we're all over the world. And we have troops all over the world in places that are very, very far away. Venezuela is not very far away. And the people are suffering. And they're dying. We have many options for Venezuela, including a possible military option if necessary.
And on that note, we come to the end of our news update. But for the very latest, visit our website, www.barbadostoday.pb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And don't forget, Mix 96.9 FM. There you can get the very latest news and sports. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. To have a great weekend.